Oh my gosh. Is he still breathing?
I did not know that. I'm so sorry.
This is Hannah Lee Gage, and she just found her boyfriend shot dead in their kitchen by their mutual friend.
I literally thought it was a flashlight, sir.
It's a trigger, dude. It's a fucking trigger.
At first, officers believe it could have been an accidental shot, but as detectives dig deeper, they would uncover a twisted love triangle where each person hides a dark secret and where a shy, quiet kid can turn evil in the blink of an eye.
I just don't understand if, he was mad.
He never hangs out really with anybody. Very quiet.
If I fail at something, I feel stupid. So I aimed at it, pulled the trigger, the rest is played out.
In the early hours of December 31st, just one day before New Year's, the Lake Stevens Police Department receives a terrifying call. On the line is 23-year-old Hannah Lee Gage, watching in horror as her boyfriend bleeds out from a gunshot wound to the chest.
Hurry, someone's been shot, hurry. Oh my god, I don't even know, I wasn't paying attention. My friend just grabbed my other friend's gun, and I think he was just trying to play around me. I shot him. I'm away.
The man with the gun, where is he?
He's in my kitchen, he's yelling for me to help. I feel like I need to help.
Okay, what is his name?
What's your name, huh? What's your name? Josh.
Officers rush to the scene, knowing the situation is dire. The victim may be moments away from death, while the killer stands watching. And what they'd find inside wasn't just a horrific scene, it was the end result of obsession turning into violence.
Oh, thank God they're here. They're here.
Okay, go to the door. Get the officers.
Oh my God.
Where's the gun?
Please help. The gun is running.
Come on, Neil.
Please
Come
help.
on. I'm inside. Neil?
Is the ambulance on their way?
They are. I literally thought the gun was a flashlight because he was using it as a flashlight. We were looking for a cat and I saw that I was using a flashlight. I hope I did
Just
not.
one? Right
Yes, one shot.
Is he okay?
there? No, it's not okay.
On the floor lies 27-year-old Neil Forestier, shot in the chest and no longer breathing. Paramedics arrive within minutes, fighting desperately to bring the young man back to life. Just a few feet away stands his friend, Joshua, insisting the shooting was an accident. But as the officer escorts him outside, reality begins to sink in.
It's a trigger, dude. It's a fucking trigger. You have to
Stay over there. Stay over there.
I did not know that. I'm so sorry. I swear to God, I did not know it was a concealed weapon. I did not know he concealed a loaded weapon or anything like that.
Okay, I'm gonna read you your rights though, okay? Okay, so don't say anything until I read you your rights.
Yes, sir. I have work in a few hours.
I know, buddy.
All Joshua can say is, "I'm sorry." But what immediately catches the officer off guard is that he doesn't even sound upset at all, more worrying about his morning shift. He doesn't appear overly intoxicated either, leading the officers to suspect he's hiding something far darker. Still, with Joshua insisting it was an accident, the officer turns to the only other witness, Hannah. But what Hannah would reveal to the officers would dismantle Joshua's claims, making it clear this wasn't just an accident between friends. Joshua was actually a stalker, and she barely knew him at all.
He's gonna bring you out to his car, get you started on a statement. Wait,
I'm just gonna shut the door.
I got it. Don't worry
I
about
have a cat, so I just don't want her to get out.
it.
Was Josh? That's his name, right, Josh?
I don't know. I asked him when I was on the phone with the police, and he said it's Josh. I know him, but I just don't know him that well. We've met at the bar a couple of times.
No,
And he just asked if he could come over to my house so he could sober up for an hour, and then he was gonna go home. And I said,
Did
yeah,
he
sure,
drive
that's
here?
fine.
He'll take his gun out, put it in his waistbands, so him and Josh put it in the box.
Josh started it, he was playing, doing it, acting around, and then he was like, oh, we could do that if you want. We could just start with 10% and then go up.
Unbeknownst to Hannah, Joshua was consumed by jealousy. He perceived himself as a nobody, a failure at everything, while Neil was a Navy veteran, a rising MMA fighter, and the boyfriend of the woman he desired. But this is when Hannah would voice what everyone is thinking, exposing just how ridiculous Joshua's excuse for the shooting really is.
We sometimes say that when, with our gun, we punch out,
Yeah, no, I
never
never saw
point the
him
gun
grab
at
the
him.
gun or point the gun. I just heard it, and I was like, I didn't really understand what it was. I just felt the ringing in my ear.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like something like ricocheted.
How close would you say?
I was so close. Like, we were all so close. My kitchen is small. It's a small apartment. We were all in that small little kitchen.
Did Neil say anything?
No.
He wasn't talking. He didn't say nothing.
No, but he was still awake for a little bit. Like, he collapsed and his eyes closed and everything, or rolled back. But
So
now
you
I
didn't
feel
say
like
anything?
since we were drinking, like, I feel like I can't even fully process what all just happened.
Yeah. There's nothing that you could have done.
I just don't
differently.
understand if, like, he was mad. I don't really understand how he could think a gun is just a flashlight.
I didn't see the gun. Is there a flashlight on the
I'm
gun?
pretty sure there is a flashlight on the gun,
Okay.
but you would have to pull the trigger to a gun to make it go off.
Hannah is exactly right. A gun doesn't go off by itself, nor can it be mistaken for a flashlight, which means police might be dealing with a far more deliberate act than they initially thought. By now, Joshua has arrived at Snohomish County Jail, where he will be held for hours while police gather evidence. During this time, guilt begins to eat away at Joshua. He knows Neil didn't deserve what happened to him, and he's terrified the police won't buy his accident story. But this is when devastating news comes back from the scene. Despite the paramedics' best efforts, Neil Forestier had passed away. Neil was a religious man with a deep love for his country. He served in the Navy and later pursued a career as a professional mixed martial artist. Neil enjoyed making people happy, which is why he tried to befriend Joshua, making what happened to him all the more tragic. With Joshua in custody, detectives race to gather every piece of evidence before interviewing him. So they call the bartender who served drinks to the group just hours before the horrific shooting. She knows all three of them well, and to the detective's surprise, she seems to be on Joshua's side, portraying him as someone who wouldn't hurt a fly.
So you normally see they're what you would call maybe irregulars?
Yeah.
Do they usually come in together, or do they usually hang out together?
Josh never hangs out really with anybody. He is very quiet. No, he seemed like a little bit like he might have had Asperger's or something. Probably the last person I would have ever expected to have heard this about.
The bartender is shocked to learn what Joshua has done, suggesting that it may have been nothing more than a tragic accident. But what she's about to reveal hints at Joshua's darker motive, showing how a quiet, shy kid can turn evil in the blink of an eye.
This past weekend, he did go hang out with Hannah. She is, like, very gregarious.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like,
Outgoing?
appears that way.
Would you maybe describe her as flirty?
She's very flirty.
Okay.
And she honestly, the night that happened, started dancing with him, and I can see
Dancing
how,
with Josh or dancing with Neil?
dancing with Josh.
Like, body to body kind of.
Yeah, but nobody seemed upset. Like, Neil didn't look mad.
Did you see Hannah like making out with Josh at all, or just dancing?
I didn't see that. It wouldn't have surprised me.
Okay, and have you ever heard Josh express any kind of feelings about anybody in the bar or Hannah at all?
Yeah, he stares a lot, but it seems not like creepy, more like very observational.
Okay.
Almost like he wishes he knew how to talk to people, but doesn't. Neil seems like a really nice person, and Josh seemed really sweet too. Awkward, and I could see where he might misread situations.
Armed with a clearer understanding of the group's dynamics, the detectives hope they have enough leverage to get a confession from Joshua. So 4 days after Joshua's arrest, the detectives bring him in for questioning. Veteran detective Kristen Parnell will lead the investigation. She knows exactly how to handle suspects like Joshua. By using Joshua's own insecurities against him, Parnell will uncover his repressed feelings for Hannah and reveal the true motive behind the murder.
You remember me, Detective Parnell? The reason I came down here was because some more stuff has come up and I just kind of wanted to follow up with you and get some more questions answered. Okay?
Parnell knows there are holes in Joshua's story, and she starts with one of them, the twisted reason he chose to go to Hannah's house instead of his own.
You'd been up for a while, had a couple drinks at Creekside, and then asked Hannah if you could go back to her apartment, right?
Yeah, just in case if I was to pass out.
Why did you decide to go to her place versus just giving her a ride home? Is there something that would have been unsafe about going?
I mean, there would have, but at the time I also wanted to head home. Not head home, but head to Hannah's, hang out with her for a little bit just in case if I was to fall asleep there.
You guys did the play fighting thing.
Yeah, it just came out of the blue. of me knowing that I've gotten into a couple of fist fights in the past, you know, and I told him that I was pretty good at fighting. I was throwing good punches and stuff. And then he got his on me, and I'd say he did better than me.
Because you hurt, right?
It didn't hurt.
Or no, you said it didn't hurt, it knocked the wind out of you.
It knocked me back, and I was kind of breathing a little hard for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he kind of put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Are you okay?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little winded out."
Just moments before the shooting, Joshua had asked Neil to play fight and test each other's strength. What Joshua didn't know, however, was that Neil was a professional fighter. But what irritated Joshua the most wasn't the punch itself, but Neil's reaction afterward. He simply placed a hand on Joshua's shoulder and asked if he was okay, a gesture that only made him feel more humiliated and emasculated. But there's something else in Joshua's story that catches Detective Parnell's attention.
Tell me about the last time you were punched in the gut like that.
This was back when I was in middle school. That was in recent memory, that was my last fight that I remember being in, and the guy I was fighting did sock me in the gut pretty good.
Yeah.
Around the same type of punch that Neil gave me.
How did you feel in middle school when you got punched like that?
At the time, I was not experienced, so I was in pain.
I mean, it sounds like you kind of flashed back to that, and sometimes when something happens that reminds us of a previous experience, it's kind of like you're back in that previous experience. Did you feel like that?
Not necessarily. I did feel like I was about to go on my knees like I did in the past, but I was holding on to the counters.
The gun was, I'm guessing, on the counter in front of you then, too.
Yeah.
Neil's punch triggered a repressed memory in Joshua. The last time he was hit in the stomach, even if he refuses to admit it. But the detective doesn't stop there. She keeps pressing Joshua on the real reason he shot Neil, methodically dismantling his claim that it was an accident.
What was going through your head then, right at that moment when you're bent over on the counter and like kind of trying to catch your breath again? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Tell me what that was like.
I was kind of I was thinking like, wow, this guy knows how to punch, you know?
Yeah.
And I was impressed by how hard he punched. I don't like failing at anything. If I fail at something, I feel stupid. And so after going through that thought process, I kind of paced through the kitchen a little bit. Then after pacing for a little bit, I saw the gun, and the rest is played out.
Said last time that you were a little upset that he hit you that hard, right?
Well, I wasn't upset. I was, like I said, I was surprised. I looked down at the counter and then saw the gun. I was also curious on how the flashlight part of the gun worked, and thought that the muzzle part was the flashlight.
Your goal was to pull the trigger and fire a round, okay? Because you had just gotten punched again by this guy who's sleeping with a girl that you want to be sleeping with, if we're being honest, right?
So I aimed at it, pulled the trigger. That answered my question and led me into a shock.
Neil was everything Joshua is not. Successful, confident, liked by others. Being outpunched by him only deepened Joshua's sense of inferiority. All of this is obvious to Detective Parnell, but not to Joshua. He still wants her to believe it was nothing more than an accident. But take a closer look at Joshua. Does his reaction to the shooting seem genuine or merely performative?
Neil gets hit, goes to the ground, and I know you went and grabbed a towel and you're trying to stop the bleeding and stuff. What are you thinking and feeling while you're...
I felt like a complete asshole for just randomly picking up a gun that I did not know what to really do with. I just felt stupid. Like I wanted to cry, and just seeing her cry, and and that was making me feel more like a really bad friend. Like, made me question myself, why would I do something stupid?
Joshua says he felt guilty, but the detective isn't convinced. He's always wanted people to like him, and this might just be his attempt to win Parnell's sympathy. She catches on immediately and plans to use it to her advantage. Unbeknownst to Joshua, the police have confiscated his bag, and what they find inside is troubling, to say the least.
Talk to me about your backpack that you were carrying around with you.
I keep tools like flathead screwdrivers and stuff. What my favorite hobby to do is taking apart old, throwing away electronics and collecting scrap metal. And then one day I wanted to make money off of scrap metal.
Talk to me about the other stuff that was in there.
Like what?
So we have your bag.
I would have thought so.
So tell me about the other stuff that's in there that you don't want to talk about. We're at a point where I feel like we should be able to be honest, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've already demonstrated that it's hard to lie to me. I've been lied to a lot, so I'm really good at knowing when people are lying or when people are withholding. And you are not going to tell me anything in this room that I have not heard before. So you're not going to make me uncomfortable. You are not going to make me think badly about you. For me, I do this all the time.
It's hard to think without looking inside my bag.
What about anything that was in your bag?
Trying to remember what was all in there.
Please.
Just if we were wanting to get a little, frisky or kinky or whatever.
Okay.
At this point, Detective Parnell can already tell that Joshua's actions are tied to his feelings for Hannah and his hatred of Neil. So she presses him to reveal the real reason he went to Hannah's house, something connected to the disturbing contents found in the bag.
Maybe you're a little hopeful that you get to play with those with Hannah?
No. I never wanted to have sex with Hannah. I never had the thought process of having. I've seen her flirting with other guys, and I'm like, she is flirting with other dudes, so it probably wouldn't be worth it.
Come on.
I thought about it, yes, but I wasn't gonna ask her.
Oh, no, that's a weird question to say you want to go back. But,
yeah.
I mean...
But I didn't, yes, I did thought about...
Right, and kind of like we talked about before, like, hey, if you had gotten back there and one thing led to another, you weren't going to tell her no, right? Yeah, that's... Okay.
Detective Parnell has just masterfully uncovered the truth from Joshua, even if he doesn't realize it yet. He's been consumed by jealousy for months, forced to watch someone else be with the woman he desires and humiliate him in front of her. The loss of Neil Forestier deeply impacted the city of Lake Stevens, where the community mourns a man who loved his country, proudly served in the Navy, and always tried to help others. The interview ends with Joshua Matthew Kelly being charged with second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. He's now awaiting his court hearing, and if convicted, he could face up to 18 years in prison.